Well, hello traders and investors. I'm L.A. Little and this is your daily NeoTA wrap. We take a look at these markets and we're doing it from a neoclassical perspective, each time asking ourselves what happened today and what does it tell us about the coming ones. I do a show 4 times a week, every Monday through Thursday. It's broadcast at or before 10 o'clock Eastern Time, archived on YouTube. It's under the channel L.A. Little, and if you want to subscribe, haven't done so, just reach up in the right hand corner. Anytime I push content, you'll get a notification. As far as what happened today, well, it was an update, a big update actually. We had the S&P 500 trade over that area that we identified as a buy target potentially. We had the NDX, the NASDAQ up 1.5%. The S&P 500 gathered up 1.34, and we had the where is the Russell? I don't have the Russell up here. It's up almost 2% or over 2%. I have to get that one on the boards here. As far as overseas, the big news once again in Europe, up 2% on that Brexit vote. That vote's taking place tonight. We had the British pound up huge again today. Remember, we had that big volume and said it probably would retest today. Well, it did. Not only did it retest, it just blew out the top and just kept going. After hours, starting to get some of those early returns coming in. The last number I saw, 2.5–3% of the vote was counted, and the Brexit was actually winning. But I don't know what kind of percentages these represent, what was expected, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if it really means anything or not. But I know the British pound gave up all of its gains from the day when that took place. Gold was down, silver was up. We actually had oil up 2%. And the bonds were down another 1.14% on the downside. If we move over, take a look at the charts. Let's start what's all happening, and that is in London. A straight up move. Makes a break over the highs. Clearly, the risk, if there is a risk, the risk is to the downside. In other words, if that vote comes in wrong, and they do vote to exit, these markets are going to take a pretty good hit because they definitely put that bid back into the market. Now, even if the market doesn't, even if the vote doesn't turn out negative in that, they want to leave the union, you're still probably going to have a stretch to try to keep this a buy on the news when you've already bought in front of the news. So on the FTSE straight up, and that a lot of times the FTSE is a reflection of metals, and right now it's a reflection of that vote. Over on the DAX, DAX trades higher. DAX gets over the swing point high up here and is pressing up towards the next swing point high. If we look at the CAC came out with bad PMI numbers, still trades up higher. Got some decent volume coming in these today, and pretty much anywhere you look today, a little bit more of a volume increase in the overseas European markets. Over in Hong Kong, a little bit push up. You had the Nikkei ups as well, or it should be up tonight. It was up slightly overnight. And so Asia and Europe both trading higher. The real question here is going to be what happens when this vote actually gets counted. And, can these markets sustain a move even if the vote turns out to be what was expected? And of course, if it doesn't, it's going to be a different story. Now, if we move back to domestic markets, the big news here is that you're getting over, or at least we've gotten over, that area that we were looking at and identifying before. What we were talking about was this swing point high. Actually had a high here that was a retest regenerate, right? Held twice down here at the lows. That was a bullish retest regenerate. As you come back up, the swing point low is this bar, gets back over it, had traded up to it and failed before, got up to that high, and if I get it actually drawn in right, it went right to the money on Monday, turned it around. Yesterday went up there and tried it again. Today it just blows it away, and they got a huge push at the end of the day. Volume came in at the end of the day, and the price took off. You tacked on, today was the percentage gain today was 1.34. Half of that, almost half of that, came in the last 15-20 minutes. It was a blow-off move right at the end of the day. So when you look at this market, the market pressing higher, wants to get up and push over that swing point high that's on the top. And of course, if we get the vote, the way this market has cast its vote, then we probably see it try to pop that top. Whether it can stay up there is a different story, and what's really going to be the main thing that one should be looking at is that with it being Friday now, you're over the swing point highs on a weekly basis. You've got one up here at 21.16, you got one at 21.11, and right now it's trading at 21.13, so right in between them, and it's over the 21.03 mark, which was the breakdown bars high. So right now, everything going for this market, including the weak indexes. So if we go over to the weakest one, which is the NDX, even though you didn't have the big three, cap stocks, heavy cap stocks making the big moves, you still got a nice push up. You got it on the chip stocks. You had the IBB chipping in, and of course you had, Facebook, all of those others, Amazon, and so forth. So a decent push up gets over this highs, swing point high, and over this bar that it was dealing with all day long, which was about 4449. So you trade it up, close it at 67. Again, just like elsewhere, the volume and the price comes in right at the end of the day. So at this point, everything looks positive. But everything's going to revolve around what that vote turns out to be, either successful or not in terms of leaving or staying. That vote's going to cast a huge pall on these markets if it is to leave. If it's to stay, I still think that, given the buy the news in front of the market, in front of the vote, you're probably going to see some sort of a pop the top, and then, trade back down. So if I were trying to make a trade tomorrow, I'd be very careful and watch the fade of the push, because that's probably where it's going to be. I'm going to leave it at that. It's going to be the end of the week here, so I'll pick it up on Sunday evening, or join me then. If you haven't checked out what we did, I actually did day trades today with that mentoring group. We actually traded the SPXL long. It was trading on the GDX, a couple other names, but the SPX is the one that SPXL was the one we were focusing on. The tape is out for the members. You'll get that, or actually it's not out, but will be out for the members later. And I'll be doing a follow-up individually with these mentorees, and hopefully get them off to a strong start as a new member here at TA Today. If you want to join, all you got to do is hit the Get Started button. Have yourself a great night, great weekend. I'll see you next time. Good night.